Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm gonna be switching things up. See, I get on here and do a lot of, yip yapping about grooming or personal development or, some things that involve your everyday life. But today, I'm gonna be giving y'all my top 10 players in the NBA currently right now. See, I decided to do this video because I seen a lot of top 10 lists of players in the NBA, and I wasn't really agreeing with it. And me loving basketball the way I do, as y'all will come to find out over the course of time, I decided to drop my top 10 list and let everybody know how it should be done. So if y'all like to see more stuff based on, sports and, just sports analytics and whatever the case may be, comment down below and let me know. Without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. So to start this video off, as I should with any top 10 list, or as anybody should with a top, so-and-so's list, I gotta start the list off with some honorable mentions. See, these players that I will list as honorable mentions, they quite didn't make the cut. Whether it be because their team ain't really, hitting on too much, specifically being below 500, because I'm not really big on that. You can go out and average 30, you can go out and average 40, but if your team is below 500 and it's not translating to no W's, you really ain't gonna get too much of no credit in my book. So first on my honorable mention list, Jimmy gets buckets. See, Jimmy Buckets made my honorable mentions because although he doesn't average 20 a game, which every player on my list at least averages 20 a game, and every other player on my honorable mentions list averages 20 a game. The reason he gets the nod on my honorable mentions list, however, is because he leads the league in steals. He almost averages 3 steals a game. I think he's sitting at 2.6 to be exact right now. So defense wins championships, as we all know. So I had to get Jimmy Buckets the nod on my honorable mention list just for that. And also his ability to, you give him the ball in the fourth quarter, and as his name states, he gonna go get you a bucket. So yeah, first on my honorable mentions list, Jimmy Butler. Next up on my honorable mentions list, I got Ben Simmons. And the reason Ben Simmons didn't make the cut, he's not really too much of a scorer anyways, but he averages 13 points a game. And I think there's players that could be, could fit into the top 10 players in the NBA before him, considering he averages 13 points a game. Now, the reason he got the nod for my honorable mentions list is because while he averages only 13, he does average 8 assists, however, and he does have the ability to have a LeBron-like impact on the game, and, a Magic Johnson-like impact on the game, or a Steve Nash-like impact on the game, and, considering he can slow it down, control the pace, or he can speed it up and run a break too. So, and not to mention he's 6'11" with a point guard skill set, and we won't see too many players like that. So next up on my honorable mentions list, Ben Simmons. And last on my honorable mentions list, and this is my dog. I love him to death. I rock with him a long way, but his team suck. And that's Bradley Beal. See, Bradley Beal, he averaging like 28 right now, 7 assists. He really getting off, and he's showing that without John Wall, he can try to shoulder the load, but he's doing just that, trying. You know what I mean? This Wizards team really won't do too much without the combination of Bradley Beal and John Wall that we all got used to seeing, over the course of the last 5 or so years. So that's why he didn't really get the nod for me, because although he averages almost 30, his team sucks. So last on my honorable mentions list, Bradley Beal. So now we finna get into the real list. We finna get down to the real nitty gritty. You know what I mean? So starting things off, number 10, Karl Anthony Towns, my main man Cat. So the reason I decided to squeeze Cat into the number 10 spot is because unlike the players I listed in my honorable mentions list, his team is actually above 500. Although, albeit by a little bit, his team is still above 500, and he's really one of those first players to one of those first unicorn players, I should call him, in the ability that he has to ball handle and the ability that he has to play make and his ability to play defense and block shots. And also, most impressive to me, his ability to hit the three ball. And this man standing at 7 feet tall is shooting 44% from the tray this year. Let that sink in. He's a center, y'all. And he's shooting 44% from the tray ball. That's just crazy. So on top of that, he averaging 26 a game and a little over 12 rebounds. So, you know what I mean? It's only right that I suppose him into my list somewhere, somehow. So there we go. Number 10, Karl-Anthony Towns. Number 9 on my list, Dame Dollar. Now, whoa. Y'all might be looking at me like, man, you got to be out of your mind to have Damian Lillard all the way down at number 9 on your list. But as I said in the intro, I'm not a fan of teams that are below 500. I'm not a fan of players that are, as far as putting them in the top, you know what I mean, top 10 list and their team sucks. The Blazers are, I'm going to just keep it real and go ahead and say it, they're underachieving right now. And that's partially the reason they signed Melo to begin with, to give somebody, you know what I mean, to add another player that could come in and just, you know, give you a flat-out bucket when all else fails. So that's my thing with the Trailblazers. They're really, you know, underachieving. So hence, that's why Damian Lillard is so low on my list. Although he's averaging 27 points a game and he's shooting a league-high 92% from the free throw line. And we all know what he can do in the fourth quarter. And, you know what I mean, we asked Paul George, asked James Harden, asked the, you know what I mean, some of the best players in the league. They didn't all got a bucket courtesy of Dame Dollar. But like I said, his team is underachieving right now. And I believe even that they'll pick things up, you know, as the season progresses. But like I said, this list is about the top 10 players right now. And right now, I couldn't really boost him up higher on my list because his team sucks so damn bad right now. So I can only go off of, you know what I mean, what I've seen. So number 9, y'all, Dame Dollar. Number 8, Trae Young. Now, some may agree with me, some may not. But the thing that can't really be disputed is the simple fact that this man is in that 21 and under club and he's playing like he's been in the league 10 years. That's something that won't go unnoticed with me. And I know that his team is sorry, and that probably goes against what I just said about Damian Lillard, but considering that the Trailblazers was in the Western Conference Finals last year, and you know, the drop-off is crazy. So the thing about the Hawks is they've always sucked, at least for as long as I can remember. And he, and considering the fact that John Collins is suspended for 25 games, had that not be the case, their record would probably be a lot better. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't be dropping 49 in L's if John Collins was playing. So that's why I had to give Trae Young the nod at my number 8 spot. And considering the fact that man is averaging 28 and 8, let that sink in. He barely 6 feet tall and he averaging 28 and 8. That's crazy numbers. That's like, it's mind-boggling to me how somebody can be that small and have such a great impact on the game. And on top of the fact, he pulling that thing up from the logo with confidence, with extreme confidence. It's almost Steph Curry-like, if I should say. So, yeah, number 8 on my list, Treyway. Number 7 on my list, Joel Embiid. He's 7 feet tall. He almost 300 pounds. He can shoot the tray ball, and he's one of the most intimidating interior defenders that the league done seen when he wants to be. And that's partially why Joel Embiid is so low on my list, because it's when he wants to be. That's the story of Joel Embiid. He goes off when he wants to. He plays defense when he wants to. He asserts his dominance on the game when he wants to. So had that not be the case, he probably fall somewhere in my top 5. But since he kind of turns it on whenever he feels like it, you know what I mean, I had to rate him a little bit lower. But nonetheless, he's still averaging 23, 12 rebounds, and a block and a half. So he can't be, you know what I'm saying, doing too bad. But as I said, with the considering the skill set that he has, I think Joel Embiid could honestly average 30. He could be one of those Shaq type figures to where you just dump the ball down low to him and you have no answer for him. And I feel like until he asserts his dominance on the game in that Shaq-like way, he you know what I mean, he'll always fall out of the top 5 as far as top players in the league. So number 7, Joel Embiid. Number 6, Anthony Davis. Now, the days of me being an Anthony Davis fan date all the way back to when this man was in college. Like, first time I seen him, I could tell that, especially me knowing that he hit that growth spurt and he used to be a point guard, I could tell that when he got in the league, he was going to be, as I referred to earlier, one of those unicorn type players. You know what I mean? He handles with the best of the big man. Hell, he even handles with some of the best of the guards. You know what I mean? He plays defense like like crazy. Like, we've not seen a player like this as far as the way he asserts his dominance in the paint since like prime Dwight Howard. And you know, if you coming down that lane and Anthony Davis down there, you better rethink something. Hence the reason he's currently leading the league in blocks at almost 3 a game. So, you know what I mean? It's just his ability to shoot the 3 ball, his ability to shoot that mid-range. I feel that's his bread and butter. You can get a ball to him in the mid-post, and he can kind of, you know what I'm saying, give you a shimmy, pull it up straight over the top of you. He can give you a shimmy, step back, hit it off the dribble. He could poke, you know, Kobe Bryant type post fade. He could even run you down and do a little hook. It's like his arsenal and his bag, I should say, is very, very, very deep. So, hence the reason he got the number 6 spot on my list. So, number 6, AD. All right, so before I get into my number 5 spot, I'm going to just say that when it comes to the spots 5 through 1, the order may not be what, you know, people agree with. But, like I said, I should say that it's based on, as I said in the beginning of the video, it's based on, you know, what your team is doing, and it's not based on prior accomplishments. So just because somebody had a historical finals run last year, hint, hint, that don't mean that they're going to be number 1 on my list. Like some lists just, you know, like I see some lists and it's like, how could you put him number 1? Or how could you put this particular guy number 2? Or how could this guy who should be number 1 be number 5? And it's just, you know, it just get crazy out here. So, like I said, I had to come say today and lay down the law and, you know what I mean, show y'all how a top 10 list is supposed to be done and how it's supposed to look. And I also should add that with these 5 players, I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth of why I feel that they're at the spot that they're in. So, yeah. Number 5, Kawhi Leonard. Speaking of the hint that I just spoke of, I felt that Kawhi got my number 5 spot because he's the only player, yes, he's the only player in my top 5 who load manages. And I can't find it within myself to put a player who load manages at number 1 or number 2 on my list because of the simple fact, I mean, yeah, there could be something wrong with him that we don't know about, but when you see him play, it's like, come on, man. It can't be nothing that wrong with you to where you can take a night off and then the next night, the very next night, you come play like, get out, go crazy, like go balls out. There's no way that if you're hurt, if you just take 1 game off, you're going to be able to bounce back and spring back and come do what he does in the games that he plays after the games in which he sits out. And you know what I mean? It's not like he's sitting out 10 games and getting the rest he needs on whatever part of his body is, you know, aching or whatever. But it's like he takes 1 game off and then he just come out like a, you know, great balls of fire and just go dumb. So I feel like, you know what I mean, I can't really put him higher on my list because he load manages. But nonetheless, I mean, the man is averaging 25 points a game, which puts him top 15 in the league. He's averaging 8 assists, and he's averaging 5 rebounds, and I think he's averaging like almost 2 steals or somewhere around there. So he still does, you know, put up his Kawhi Leonard numbers, if I should say, but I think he'd probably be a lot higher on my list if he were. I think he'd be a lot higher on my list if he didn't low manage and if he, you know, played the games that I think he could play. So, or that we all think he could play. So, number 5 on my list, Kawhi Leonard. Number 4 on my list, Luka Doncic. Now, this man is just balling out. Like, I didn't even expect, even though he won Rookie of the Year last year, and even though he has this veteran-like poise about him and this veteran-like poise about his game and how he lets the game come to him and he just, you know, plays with the flow of the game, I didn't see this coming. I mean, for Christ's sakes, man, the man is averaging almost 31 points a game, 10 rebounds, and almost 10 assists. That puts him right in Russell Westbrook territory with, you know what I mean? He honestly can average a triple-double this year. He's right there. He's 9.9 rebounds, 9.6 assists to be exact. So a couple of double-digit board games and double-digit assist games in a row, he's going to be right there at about 30, 10, and 10. And that's just, for a 20-year-old, that's just mind-blowing to me. A 20-year-old kid who, like I said, man, this guy's 20 years old. He's the same age as me. And he's out there like a man amongst men instead of a boy amongst men, which he essentially is. You know what I mean? And he plays just with this incredible confidence. And it's just crazy to see a player that young play like that, especially since he's playing on a team that's rebuilding and he trying to get them boys to the playoffs. Even through, you know what I mean, he's even carrying Kristaps, so to speak, because Kristaps, let's just, you know, keep it 100. He's not really playing up to his potential, and he's not playing like Knicks Kristaps. He's not playing like top 5 in defensive player of the year voting Kristaps. He's not playing that way. So Luka taking it upon himself to essentially carry them boys, you know what I mean? And they actually got a good record. I think they sitting at 13-6 or 12-6, something like that. So they're above 500, which I'm a big fan of. And they in the beastie Western Conference, you know what I mean? You in a conference with the Lakers and the Clippers and the Rockets and the Nuggets and even the Trailblazers, you know what I mean? They in the deep Western Conference right now. And you know what I'm saying? They putting their best foot forward, and it all starts with the driving force that is Luka Doncic. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's top 3 in as far as MVP voting. But the thing that's a drop off for him, and the reason he's 4th on my list, is because I have seen him, however, like a great defense, like a defense that, you know what I mean, could really key in on him. He doesn't really know what to do in those situations. You know what I mean? He doesn't really, he's poised, yes, but when he comes up against a juggernaut defense like maybe the Bucks or maybe the Clippers or even the Lakers, he kind of, you know what I mean, you can key in on him and stop him, essentially. So that's the reason that he's, you know what I mean, 4th on my list, because the other 3 players, my 3rd spot, my 2nd spot, and my 1st spot, those are all unstoppable players. And I really don't fit Luka in that unstoppable territory yet. So that's the reason he's 4th on my list. But nonetheless, he's a great player, and he's top 3 in MVP right now, in my opinion. So number four, Luka Doncic. All right. So we down to the top 3. We in top 3 territory. And I struggled with the order at first. Yeah, I struggled with the order at first, but then I was able to, you know, regroup and get things under control. But these are my top 3 houses, 3 incredible players, 3 generational athletes. And yeah, these guys get busy, all 3 of them. So All right. So top number three. Uh, mm, okay. Number three, I got James Harden. And reason being is because although he doesn't play any defense, although he essentially disappears, poof, abracadabra, nowhere to be found in the playoffs, this man's still averaging damn near 40 points a game. Let that resonate with you. Damn near 40 points a game. 38.9. So he's 39 points a game. That's crazy. That's the highest point per game average since Wilt Chamberlain averaged 50, and Wilt was 7 feet going up against 6'4", 6'5" centers. So he damn near better have been averaging 50. James Harden, however, he plays in a league where it's the most athletic players, the most gifted and talented players that the league has ever seen, and he's averaging 40 in this era. And people can say what they want about the physicality and whatever the case may be, but averaging 40, I just don't know what to say about that. And on top of the fact that he's playing with a person who I feel is a ball hog in Russell Westbrook, and he's still able to be like, you know what? Yeah, we boys. Yeah, we cool, but you came to my squad. This still my crib. And you know what I mean? And for him to still assert that level of authority with a player like Russell Westbrook, I think that speaks volumes to James Harden. And for them to translate that into winning, I think they're fourth or fifth in the conference right now. So they're toward that top half of the conference. And like I said, he's averaging 40 for Christ's sakes. Like that's just mind blowing to me. I can't believe it. Like, and on top of the fact he's chipping in 6 rebounds and 8 assists on top of that. So that man getting busy right now. So number 3 spot, James Harden. All right. So if you know basketball, you probably know who my top 2 players are. Y'all probably just guessing on the order. But these 2 guys, what they're doing and the situation that they got their team in right now, it's crazy. You feel me? They balling out, and they, you know what I'm saying, they doing what they supposed to do as superstars. You know what I mean? They doing what they supposed to do as bucket getters. You know what I mean? They doing what they supposed to do as far as playmaking and making the rest of their team better. They just, you know, essentially doing it all. And at the number 2 spot, the Greek Freak. Now, the Greek Freak is like in a whole nother conversation. Once he develops a consistent, you notice I didn't say just a 3-point shot. Once he develops a consistent three-point shot to where he's a threat from out there, the league is gonna be in trouble. And on top of the fact that he's a defensive dynamo, like he could take all 5 positions like a piece of cake. He can go guard, he could guard Steph Curry one night, and then the next night he could guard Anthony Davis. It's just crazy how versatile this man is. And like I said, he's 6'11", 7 feet tall. He could take the ball from coast to coast in about 5 steps. It's just unstoppable is what it is. And the simple fact that he averages 31 points a game and he can't shoot, that's just crazy. He averages 31 points a game and he can't shoot a lick. That's just a test to how much he's living in the paint. And he can't shoot free throws either. So that's just a test to how much he's living in the paint. He's just getting in the paint at will. He dunk on any and everybody. It's just crazy, man. And then when he coming down the lane, it's like he done put on that 30, 40 pounds of muscle. So when he coming down the lane, people getting out the way now. You're not standing in front of that man and taking no charge for him to run you over. So the simple fact, on top of the fact that he's averaging 13.5 rebounds and a block and a half, and a steal and a half. It's just it's crazy, man. It's oh my Lord. Like I said, when he develop a 3-point jump shot, the league gonna be in trouble. So, and the reason I couldn't give him my number one spot is because the person in my number one spot, he's doing something that, is kind of unprecedented. And I'll get to that in a few moments. But number 2 on my list, the Greek Freak. Number 1 on my list, LeBron James. Yes, number 1, LeBron James. And just the simple fact that he's even in the discussion, because a lot of people may not put him number 1, a lot of people may put him number 1, but just the simple fact that he's even in the discussion, considering he's 17 years in, considering he's about to be 35 years old. Like, 35 years old in basketball is like being like 60, in real life. So the simple fact that he's 17 years in, about to be 35 years old, and he's still putting up the numbers he's putting up, and he's still playing with the level of intensity that he's playing with. I haven't seen Bron play with this level of intensity on the defensive end since like their second championship in Miami, and we talking like 6-7 years ago. And for him to just be like, all right, y'all said I'm washed up. Y'all said I ain't got it no more. Y'all said this, y'all said that. Let me show y'all who boss, you know what I mean? Let me show y'all who the king of the league is. And I think this past year was the first time in the last 10 years he had been voted outside of the top player of the league by, the league analysts and whatever. And that was crazy to me. That was crazy to a lot of people. And as we seen, that was crazy to him because, and like I said, the first game, he did come out with that level of intensity on the defensive end. He did come out with that level of, intensity. But in the fourth quarter against the Clippers in the season opener, he kind of dialed back a little bit. And I think he only had like 2 points in the fourth quarter. And, that had me like, had me a little scared, like, damn, Bron, what you doing? But, from that second game thereafter, and right now they sitting at 17-2, and that's another reason I have him number 1, because his team has the best record in the league. And another reason I have him number 1 is because on top of him averaging almost 26 a game, as he usually does, he averages 7 rebounds, and check this out, 11 assists. We talking about somebody who's 6'9", 260 pounds. And if he wanted to, he could get the ball at the top of the key, put his head down, and go to the rim, and nobody could stop him if he wanted to. But like I've always said, he's more Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan, so he'd rather get his teammates involved and make sure his team eating and get Kyle Kuzma in rhythm and try to get Danny Green in rhythm, try to get the ball to AD in the post, get him in rhythm, get him some shots up, you know what I mean? And then he's like, all right, I did my do with y'all. Now I'm finna hop in my bag and I'm finna turn it up, you know what I mean? And the simple fact that he could just do that every game at the snap of a finger, being 17 years in, is just crazy, man. And I think he's about to be the oldest player since Steve Nash to average or to lead the league in assists. And it's just crazy how somebody who can actually put their head down and go to the rim and go average 30 if he wants to, he decides to be like, you know what, I'm going to facilitate and I'm going to play my game and I'm going to play the game the right way. He gets criticized a lot for passing the ball in the closing moments of the game, but it's like no other position in the NBA thinks like a point guard does. So with Jordan being a shooting guard, of course he's going to take the last shot. He's like, this is my team. I'm finna, you know what I'm saying? I brought him here, so I'm finna take him home. And Kobe, same thing. And, you know what I'm saying, Kevin Durant, same thing. These the players that's like, okay, even Carmelo in his prime, they're like, give me the ball. If we lose, it's going to be because I missed. That's the only way I want us to lose, because I missed. And they going to think different being scorers than somebody like LeBron, who was a pass-first player. You know what I mean? So his mindset when it comes to clutch time is going to be a little different. And crazy thing is, he actually has more game-winning or go-ahead baskets within the last 5 seconds of regulation or overtime than all of the players I just mentioned. And it actually speaks to his longevity and the reason, you know what I mean, that he's able to be so durable. I mean, he probably spends what I heard, like 1.5 million a year on his body and whatever the case may be. But every player in the league, every star player in the league got access to 1.5 million. So why the hell ain't they all doing that? If it's that easy for him to just spend the 1.5 and not get hurt. And last year was the first time we actually seen him get hurt, and that started the talks of him being washed up and him being not having it anymore. But it was just a bump in the road, you know what I mean? He got the most rest he's ever gotten in his career, or the most rest he's gotten in his career since like 05 or 06. So he came back this year re-energized, and he wreaking havoc on the league right now. And he's actually my front runner for league MVP, even though I feel Giannis is right there. And at any given moment, he could, you know what I'm saying, things could shift and Giannis could be the front runner. But speaking right now, today, December 1st, 2019, LeBron James is the front runner for the MVP. And you know what I mean? That wraps up my top 10 list for the current players in the NBA right now. If you agree or disagree with my list, comment below. Put your list up. Let me know, you know what I mean, who your top 10 players in the league is right now. Or even let me know where I went wrong. If I left out anybody that you feel should have been in the top 10 list. Or even if I left out anybody that should have been in my honorable mentions list, comment below and let me know what's popping. And I'll see y'all next week for another video.